Beautiful, delicious, simple, fast, for a festive table. Charlotte with cottage cheese and apples in the oven, unlike the classic one, turns out to be slightly more dense, but just as airy and porous. The tastier the cottage cheese and apples, the more successful this pie will turn out. How to bake a charlotte with cottage cheese and apples in the oven. First, prepare the necessary ingredients. Take the flour of the highest grade. You can take apples of the same variety or different. The main thing is that they themselves are delicious, fragrant and juicy. Take large, selected eggs. If the eggs are small, it is better to take one more. Sour cream is suitable with a fat content of 15 to 25%. How to choose cottage cheese, read a separate article at the end of the recipe. In a bowl, mix the cottage cheese with sour cream and beat with a mixer. I used soft cottage cheese in briquettes with a fat content of 9%. If your cottage cheese is lumpy and dry, advise you to either rub it through a sieve or beat it with sour cream in a blender to get rid of hard grains and get a homogeneous consistency. In another bowl, beat the eggs with a mixer until a light foam appears. Gradually pour in the sugar, continuing to beat until a fluffy mass is obtained for 3 to 5 minutes. Properly beaten eggs should be with lots of small bubbles on the surface. Put the curd mass into the beaten eggs and beat with a mixer until smooth. Add the flour sifted with baking powder to the dough in parts. Now beat the dough at low speed. Flour may need less or more. Read about flour and baking powder under the steps. If you beat at high speeds, the dough can settle heavily and lose airiness because the longer the eggs are beaten, the denser they become, and oxygen leaves the mass. You can also use a spatula, but the mixer will still mix the dough better and more evenly. Grease the bottom of the baking dish. I have 3111 centimeters with butter and sprinkle with flour. Put the dough into the mold and smooth it out. You can take the usual round shape, a diameter of 18 to 20 centimeters will do. Wash the apples, I have one large one, remove the core and cut into slices or circles. Stick the prepared apples into the dough, trying to keep the tops of the circles on the surface. Bake the charlotte in a preheated 180 degrees C oven for about 40 minutes. Do not open the oven door for the first 25 minutes, otherwise the cake will settle. Check readiness with a wooden skewer, it should come out dry. The time is indicated approximately. Look at your technique. Read more about ovens in a separate article at the end of the recipe. Remove the finished charlotte from the mold and serve it to the table. In general, the charlotte is baked, but the dough around the apples may be slightly moist. It depends on the juiciness of the apples. I had very juicy apples, which can be seen on the cut. Enjoy your meal.